Once again, I'd like to thank you for coming through to your class. And today we're going to do some works on double entry still, but we will try by all means to get to a place where we are able to extract a trial balance, discuss the importance of trial balance, and perhaps introduce the discussion on correction of errors. And this particular lecture, again, will be shared online so that maybe those who are going to be coming, late and the like, we can still share with them what we could have done. And also the evening class, I don't think that it would be fair for us to be just sharing with you full time. I'll share this also with the evening class. Requires a lot of discipline to go through the lecture alone, but if you follow through and you do your own research, I think there should be no big problems. There should be no big problems. Okay, so I don't like noise in the class. I think that is very important for us to pay attention. So let's see if we can go to this question and try to see what we can do. This is George. George commenced business on 1st what? April 2009. Following transactions took place. And I'd like to go to the requirement already. We've got the issue of journal entries. I think we were doing this yesterday. So today, I'm going to skip this one. Normally, I do everything at once. But yesterday, we just spent about 1 hour, 30 minutes together. I'll start from the ledger accounts. I'll try to teach you on how to close the ledger account, to open and close the ledger account, and then we shall go to the trial balance. We may have to extract basic financial statements, that is the statement of profit or loss, and also the statement of financial position. So I'll have to sit down, perhaps try to see if we can work these things together. Made to understand that those who are writing should be faster than those who are typing, because I think by now you have mastered how to do things quite fast. Let's start from ruling off or closing off accounts. The steps as follows. You need to follow the steps. I think they're just about 5 or so, if I'm not mistaken. Excuse me. Closing off or ruling off accounts. That's what we're dealing with there. So the first step, you have to add, okay? Add up the debit and what? Credit what? Entries. Sum them up. You know, I could have used that word, but maybe add is better. Yeah. So please, you can do something there. Then the second step. The second step is to get the difference, okay? Subtract lower from higher sum in step 1. I think this should not be very difficult, eh? Yes. I hope you're following through. Subtract lower from higher sum is step 1. Secondly, or next rather, thirdly, Insert difference above on side with lower sum as balance, what do you call it? Carry down. Carry down. Okay, let me just try to do this. I'll try to reduce a bit here so that you can see everything. Balance, you said difference above on side with lower sum as balance what? Carry down. Now, we're going to be using also carry forward for carry down. Next, check if debit sum is equal to what? Are you seeing that? Okay, then number 5 finally. Number 5 finally. Insert brought forward amount below some higher sum in step 1. Now, understand that your brought forward will always be equal to your carry down. What you close with is what you're going to open with in the following period. So those are the steps. And we can always have a practical example, isn't it? We call it the T account, right? Why? Because the account we're about to write, T account is in T shape. I'm going to just try to draw it here for us so that you can see for yourself. Interesting. I'm going to merge this, merge center, and try to underline. Okay, I hope you can see what I'm doing here. So again, you remember that the the left side is debit, right? And the right side is what? Credit. Today we're going to use dollars, so allow me to just do that and also do that. Okay, I hope you can see what I'm doing there. Let's begin. Imagine you had the following transactions. This is transaction 1. I'm going to put a number here, 100. And then there is also going to be transaction what? 2, right? Yes, I'm going to put a number here. Maybe I put it 500. Then I've got transaction, okay, I keep on forgetting, 3, okay? I put a number there, I can put 250. Okay, great. So let us rule off this T account following the instructions. The first step, okay, please finish writing. Should we switch off the light? You don't have reflection? Maybe we should do this, eh? It looks better. Like a cinema, right? So, this is what you have there. I've got a feeling that it could be better than that. Is it okay? Okay. Let us begin. What's the first step? Who remembers? Find the sum of both sides of the account. Is that correct? So what is the sum on the debit side? 600, right? On the credit? 250. Next, find the difference between the two sums. What is 600 minus 250? You said 350? All right. That 350 should be inserted as balance what? Carry down. On which side? The side with the lower what? Total. Is that okay? Next, check if your sides are what? Equal. Did you hear what I said? Check if your sides are what? Equal. So I'm just using Excel here, and I think that our sides are what? They are equal. Of course, that was the major entry there. Then finally, what do you do? Insert, balance what? Bring forward. Where? On the side which had the higher total initially. And the brought forward or brought down is always going to be equal to what you closed with. Did you hear that? There we go. Do you have any questions on what we have done? Do you have any questions on what has been done? Does it look strange? All right. We are going to be doing this very soon at a good scale, but please write, and then we can always make progress. Those who may have some questions, you're welcome to ask. Yes, you can ask. On the brought forward, I repeat what I said. Okay, so this account is a debit account. Why? Because the total on the debit side was bigger than the total on the credit side initially. On the debit side, we initially had how much? 600, right? But on the credit side, we initially had how much? 200 and what? 50. Now repeat. When we open this account next time, this account will be what? 300 and what? 50 debits. And that's the reason why the 350 is on the other side. But we're going to do more of these works after we have populated the accounts of George. Can I go now to George? I want us to progress to George, and he commences his business on 1st April 2009. The following transactions took place in his first 2 weeks of trading. What we're going to be doing will be opening tier accounts, and then we'll be populating them. You understand? I'm going to skip deliberately the first requirement because we did this yesterday, but I'm going to start from the second all the way up to 5. Okay? Let's begin from the first transaction. On 1st April itself, 2009, he brought in money. How much? 50,000. I'm just going to try to do this so that people can see a bit clearly there. So I'm going to write here, whenever we bring in money, we're dealing with what? Capital. Are we okay? You see, capital is as good as a liability what? Account, eh? And liabilities we do what? We credit, right? Do you agree with that? Okay. So, I'm going to write some things here. Write some things here. How much did he bring in? So if he brings in capital 50,000, what do we call that? Cash or bank? Is he going to keep all the money? Question. And I think it's very important to look at what he was doing. I think you can see here that he was paying some money out of the bank, like this one. There's a check. So if we decide to go, cash, we're going to have a big mistake. We're going to make a big mistake. So I'd like to encourage us that we go by the bank. It is easy to say cash is coming from the bank than to say a check is coming from what? From the safe. Isn't that so? Yes. Okay, so let's proceed. Foundations. I'm going to indicate bank, and I'm going to have to open a bank account very soon. Let us also follow through. Please, I would like you to do exactly what I am doing. Here we're going to have bank. Is that okay? I'm going to change here. Okay. Still refusing. Okay, let me just do this. Bank is an asset account. Where I put bank, you should remember that's an asset account. So where do we put the amount in the bank? On the debit, right? How much? Notice that we have completed the double entry. Notice that we have completed the double entry. Just going to create some space, maybe, so that when I start closing off, we shouldn't have some challenges. Please get yourself your calculator, put it somewhere near you. Very soon we'll be doing some closing off, like the way we did in the initial part. Can I proceed? Can I proceed? Okay, what's the next transaction? Purchase 5,000 worth of goods on credit. Can you see that? We call that a credit purchase. So we introduce another account. I think we introduced two accounts actually. Is that correct? You leave enough space on the bank because you're going to have a lot of transactions there. Leave yourself with enough space on the bank. I'm going to call this one purchases what? Purchases account. And purchases is an expense. Is that correct? And the expenses we debit. And then I'm going to open another account, which is known as what? Because we bought on credit. Payables, correct. Payables is a liability. Payables is a liability. So allow me now to get back. How much was involved? So you write here payables, If you want, you can write 5,000. And then here you write purchases, right? The first purchases. How much? 5,000. You know, if you have got enough space, you can be writing dates and so on and so forth. But I think our major interest here is double what? Entry. You should be opening T accounts on separate spaces. And make sure that you leave yourself enough space in the bank account there, as I've indicated. Because we expect the bank account to have a good number of transactions. It's a transaction account. Can I proceed? Next, what happened? Sold half of the goods, right? For how much? 6,000. Is he going to keep the 6,000? How much is $6,000 in kwacha? 6 by 15. There are those who are good at maths. Is he going to keep the 90,000 kwacha in his safe? If you are going to say he's going to do that in his safe, we can always open a cash account. Did you hear that? But if you say that he's going to take this money to the bank, which I would suggest we do, we are going to have to increase bank. So he made sales. Is that correct? I'm going to open a T account and call it sales. Sales is income, correct? And income we do what? Thank you. Let's take the money to the bank. We are just interested in double entry, please. Do you understand? Yes. Yes, we have decided to take the money to the bank. We have decided to take the cash to the bank. Yeah, it will be stolen from you. It is up to you. Okay, just a correction there, without wasting too much time. If you decide to keep the money, you can debit your cash account. Did you hear that? But if you decide to take the money to the bank, you can debit your what? Bank account. So there's nothing wrong there. Do you understand that? Okay, so let's proceed to the next one. I don't think that people normally keep 90,000. Anyway, maybe the other guys do that. Eh?
Like farmers they do.
Yeah, like farmers they do, yeah, you're right. But I think for control purposes, let's take it to the bank. Can we proceed? The next one says he issues a check for the goods received on credit. Now, how much did it cost him to get those goods? 5,000, right? Do you understand that? So what happens? We are going to have to reduce payables, right? Do you agree with me? And reduce bank. So 5,000 will be credited in the bank account. And then in the payables account, what happens? We debit, eh? So we reverse, right? Do you agree?
Yes.
With the 5,000. Very important. Congratulations. How much did he buy the goods at? How much was the purchase price? Okay. Can we proceed? To the next one. Or you still writing? What are they telling us? Next, he pays his rent. How much? $450 by check, right? We have to open a new account known as what? Rent account. Rent is an expense, right? Do you agree? So we debit, right? Expenses, we do what? We debit. I'm supposed to say bank here now. I think they've made our lives easier by stating bank, right? 400 and what? 50. So your expenses are increasing. Please make sure that you write. Your expenses are increasing. And bank asset will reduce, right? So we say rent here, right? How much? The reference account is the narrative in the account that you are populating. Did you hear that? The reference account. Anyway, let's proceed. What else is there? Sales remaining what? Remaining stock. Again, 6,000 credit. This time around, we are going to have to be forced to open a receivable account. Is that correct? Call this receivable. Okay. Is that the correct spelling? I comes first, right? I've been doing this for some time now. I think I'm correct. Isn't that so? You know, this is as good as a receipt. Which one comes first? E. Is E? Yes. Or in the receipt is E? Yes. Even in this one is E? Yes. Interesting. It is E then I. Wow, then I've been making a mistake. Okay. Eh?
No, that's not the correct.
That is wrong. The one that I did was correct.
No.
It's EI? Yes. Ah, interesting. You know, I was trying to correct myself, but I've been doing these things for some time. Okay? Can we proceed to the next one? So I'm going to start with the debit. And we are told, sold again the goods, 6,000, right? Is that correct? Sales will also be populated with the same. I hope that I've not skipped that one. This one. This time around, there's no bank, but we say receivable, right? Is that correct? And I've done the wrong thing now. It's supposed to be EI. How much? 6,000, right? All right. Can we proceed? Have you done your part? Next, buys goods on credit. How much? 7,000. Thank you. So this is purchases again. All right. Where we started from, right? Payables. I think this one will be 2 now. How much? 7,000. We do the same here. Purchases. 2. How much is the figure? 7,000. Okay, almost there now. Almost there. Van is the next thing that was bought. How much? 7,000 cash, right? You can see already there's a problem. Eh? If we had gone the cash route, we could have had a shortage. Eh? Because the goods are being sold at 6,000, isn't it? So if you say that we got the cash, we go to the cash account, we could have had a shortage. So let's now introduce the Van account. You can open a T account. All right. Van account. It's an asset account, right? Is that correct? Did I change here? Receivables also an asset, right? Is that correct? Yes. So what do we do? Debit. Is that correct? Then in the bank, please write. Before I get away from that space. We did a lot of double entry together. So I'm sure you're not going to fail us when we go upstairs. It's a very good foundation for succeeding classes, including financial reporting and advanced financial reporting. Okay? Can I progress? Bank must be credited with the same amount. How much? Okay. So now we are about to get on to what is known as the trial balance. And I'm going to stand up very soon once we balance, hoping that we can balance at first attempt. I'm sure you can see already that there's a lot of work. They like saying that we overteach, but it's better to do a good job so that if somebody does not do well, they don't come back to Zaptec and say, you failed me. If you don't do well. So please, on the other side, open a trial balance. The trial balance will look like what I have just given you. Open a trial balance. You can call it George's. How do you say George in Africa? You emphasize. Okay. Is there someone who has joined us for the first time today? No. We don't have new entrants. Maybe they'll come after the results on Friday. After the results on Friday. After the results on Friday. Others have received their results already. So we're going to be doing exactly what I'm just from doing in the other space here. You remember? Closing accounts. I think I'll start with the bank account, just for argument purposes. What we started with is we had to sum up both sides, right, of the account. How much is the debit side? 56, right? Hello? What about here? 12,450. That's what my Excel is showing me. We can trust Excel? There's always opposition. And that's the way it's supposed to be. but don't oppose for the sake of. Okay? We see that the debit side is bigger than the what? Than the credit side. So that we know that the total automatically will be 56 on both sides. That is the total that we're going to be comparing these other entries with. So we're going to say 56 in this case, minus 7. Is that okay? Come on. Let me just proceed. The difference, we said, should be inserted as what? Balance what? Carry down, eh? So you say 56 minus 7, is that okay? Minus 450 minus what? 5. How much are you getting? I'm getting a 43,550. Is that what you have? Yes. So the brought forward will be equal to what? Carry down, and it will be on the opposite what? Side. Did you see that? On the opposite side. Please, this is a debit balance account. This is a debit balance account. Why? Because the debit was bigger than the what? Credit in the... They like saying that using the word fat is an insult in some countries. If you put a fat person on one side, on one side of the what? Even in Zambia. So let's use the word big. Eh? If you put a big person, you should be diplomatic. Otherwise, you can be cited. Human rights. If you put a big person on one side of the what? What do you call that? Is it a scale? No. The one where people do that. What do you call it? You'll be on one side, the other person will be one side. It does like this and it comes like this. So if you put one person who is fat and the thin person on the other side, the thin person may not come back. So what we're saying is, this account is big on the debit side. Isn't that so? Okay, so now listen to this. When we are going to the trial balance, we're going to write the name of the account, all right? Bank. You understand? And then you are going to concentrate on which side? The fat side, eh? The side which are the bigger total. Which one is that? The debit side. Or I might say, the side which has got the brought what? Forward. The brought forward. So there we go. There we go. Which side was that? The debit side, right? Yes. Are they going to cite us for human rights abuse? Don't call a big person fat. Next time, you offend someone and you have a tough time, they'll stop talking to you. All right? Can I proceed? I'm going to get on to capital. Let's just write all the accounts that we can remember. There is capital. There is purchases. Is that correct? There is what? Payables. There is what? Sales. There is what? Receivables. Is that correct? There is what? There is rent. There's van, right? That's all? I think so. Hello? Kwasila? Nice one. So you see now, we're almost there. Once we do these works, we should be done there. Did you want to try? No, we're going to take some bit of time. Let's now go to capital, right? What is the 50 minus 0? Somebody's going to say it can't. Are you seeing what I'm doing? The carry down is on the side with 0, isn't it? And then where will your BF be? Your BF will be where? On the credit side. So you know exactly what is going on, isn't it? We are going to put the 50 where? On the credit in the trial balance. Mm-hmm. Can we proceed? Purchases. We close up. Think it's straightforward. Compare 12,000 to 0. Carry down is what? 12,000 itself, isn't it? Is that correct? Check if your sum is the same, and it is. Is that correct? So where is your BF? Mm-hmm. On which side? Fulfilling the point, expenses, we do what? We debit, isn't it? Very important. Expenses, we debit. So get the same 12,000 on the debit side and take it where? To the trial balance. Which side? On the debit, right? So you write here 12 what? 12,000. Maybe some people are still writing. All right? Isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting? Should be. Find the difference between the two sides in the payables. 12 minus 5. Again, check if your totals are the same. 12 is equal to what? 12, isn't it? So where is your carry down? On the credit, isn't it? I hope you can see that. It's supposed to be actually brought forward. Eh? You brought forward. So we do the exact thing. We're almost there. We're almost there. 7,000 credit on payables, eh? Is that correct? We go to sales. What's the carry down on sales? Who can try? It's 12,000, that's correct. Again, check if your totals agree. And they do, isn't it? So where is your BF? On the credit, right?
Yes.
Are we together? All right. Can I go and populate the trial balance? How much? At this stage of your studies, you will never have debit sales, eh? sales and debit balance, you should be checking yourself. You correct that if it happens. This one is simple. Carry down. 6, right? Therefore, BF 6 as well, isn't it? I think some people are already ahead of the lecturer. They're just waiting for me to confirm. $6,000, right? Debit. Almost there. Rent and van, eh? Simple. 400 and what? 50. Therefore, brought forward 450, right? I think let me also do the van in advance. Should I do the van in advance? Okay, please finish the rent. Finish the rent. There's something on social media that indicates that some people are swindled out of their money because they are trying to get rich or die trying. Get rich or what? Die trying. Poverty. There's no dignity in poverty. Is there any dignity in poverty? You'll be forced to know the wrath of some of your relatives. Please, there is no dignity in poverty. At least those guys were swindled trying to get richer. There are some people who don't even try. Can we also balance the van? Is that okay? Van, how much? Therefore, on the other side? Some people don't even try, but they want a good life. Their job is to wait for others to wake so that they can have a good life. Here, how much did we find? 450, right? Then here, 7,000. So now we focus on the trial balance and try to see if this trial balance agrees, all right? It has already agreed. So you don't want us to check it together in case there's someone. Okay, let's check it together. How much is your total?
69,000.
All right, what about here? Also the same. 69, right? So congratulations. This is how we extract a trial balance. We have already gotten into a different topic altogether. It's called what? Trial balance and what? Correction of what? Errors. Could there be some questions on how we have done the trial balance today? You know, I think that it will not be necessary for me to insist on the statements. Maybe we can do the statements sometime later. Let us go straight to the discussion for the day, which is the correction of what? Errors. Is that okay? Yeah, because you see, the statements that we're going to do here, you know, they're just basic statements, you know. They won't help you too much. So, trial balance and what? Correction of errors. Let me just try to stand here, try to discuss this, and you can always write if you haven't written anything. Are we ready? Supposed to be correction of errors, right? Supposed to be correction of errors. Correction of accounting errors, of course. So let's begin. See if we can. Trial balance will always agree unless there is a what? Human what? Error. So don't come and tell us the trial balance has failed to balance. Tell us, I have failed Take responsibility. Did you hear that? Take responsibility. Don't come and say the trial balance has failed to balance. You should take what? Responsibility by saying, I. Imagine the whole lot of me. All right. You see, the errors should be detected and corrected. You understand that? It's like in some of our families. And let's be honest, not all of us come from rich families. I, for one, come from a poor family with a royal name. What's this thing about having royal names and being poor? If people don't correct the wrong foundations in the families, even if they have got royal names, the poverty will continue to the next generations. 4, 5 generations, people are still wallowing in what? Just imagine you found that your parents never built a house. Do you know what will happen? You'll continue in rent until you correct the what? The problem. If you don't correct it, your children will continue in what? In rent. So errors must be identified and what? Corrected. Otherwise, at manza zesta what? Yes. And somebody said a very bad statement, history will repeat itself. I hope that that's not in the negative. If somebody says history will repeat itself, it means you better change the way you're doing things. You understand? Errors must be detected and what? Corrected. So the major reason for this particular session is to identify and correct what? Errors. Do you understand that? To identify. You know, I like saying at this stage, the error that you are failing to identify will dominate you. You understand that? It will dominate you. If you think eating once in a day is okay, you even put it at 17 hours. That's a big error. Your children will be suffering from what? Malnutrition in your household. And if one of them dies, don't look at the sky and say, well, you better upgrade and correct the errors. All right? So let us now see if we can make some progress. What is the trial balance? These are highly examinable what? Things that we're about to deal with here. The trial balance can be described as a list of what? Ledger account what? Balances. I think there's good redundancy here because we are just from doing the what? The trial balance. Okay? A list of ledger account balances presented in the respective column. As what? Debit and what? We have got, of course, 2 columns. Debit and what? Credit. Is that the correct spelling for column? M. I mean, N comes after. This English language. Can we proceed to the next one? All right. Why have the trial balance? Why were we... You see, if you're going to join a football club, you're going to be put on trials, You're going to be taught to pick up your weights and run. Now, if you run for a short distance and you drop, you fail even before they do the actual medicals. You know that? If you run for a short distance and sweat a lot, somebody say, you're at risk. Life is more important than money. Now listen to this. The trial balance checks the fitness of our double what? Entry. That's the first point, right? It checks the arithmetic or numeric accuracy of what? Double what? Entry.
like what we were just doing. We opened and closed the accounts. Now, for us to see whether what we have done was correct, we had to extract a what? A trial balance. And I think that the trial balance agreed. Not because everything was purely correct, because the trial balance does not detect all accounting errors. It's the same for the story of success. You know, when we say that check yourself and try to self-correct, we are not saying that you're going to manage to resolve all the problems that are in your life. There are certain problems that will still what? Remain. Do you understand that? Certain problems, I think that's a good place to agree. Certain problems will remain. But if you try, somebody will be able to see a life well spent. Okay, can we proceed? The trial balance is there to detect some, not all, the accounting what? Some means what? Others will remain what? Undetected. Do you understand that? So when you try to get rich, die what? Or die trying, you might be swindled. You understand that? But you'd have what? Tried. It is better, isn't it? It is better to take a risk. Because life itself is a what? Is a big risk, it's a gamble. You know, I like saying that, you know, even for the sponsored students, parents are taking a very big risk. They're what? They're putting their money on you, hoping that you'll not disappoint. Can we proceed? The trial balance becomes the basis for the preparation of what? Financial statements. Do you remember in the accounting cycle, before you prepare financial statements, you're supposed to extract what? Otherwise, you'll be doing what we call cooking of numbers at a very high level. Because you see, some people already know the format of the trial balance. And not the trial balance, but the balance sheet. It is not right for you to be balancing from the what? Balance sheet. Balance first from the trial what? Balance. You understand that? So that you can demonstrate professionalism. Now I want us to progress. I hope that you have written something. So in the event when the trial balance agrees, it means that most of the entries are what? Again, most does not mean all the entries are correct. Did you hear that? Most of the entries are what? Are correct. But if the trial balance fails to agree, then it means some accounting errors are what? Have taken place, and they need to be what? Identified and what? And corrected. Don't say, they will correct my problems. You know, I like telling people to say, if you can't fit or accommodate other people's burdens, it is better you sort out your own burden, eh? You sort out your own mess. So in this case, when your trial balance fails to agree, that is a what? Sign that you have got errors in your accounts that needs to be identified and corrected. By the way, we don't bring accounts to people which are full of errors. We don't wash dead linen in public. Even the witches, they know when to go and do what they do. I've never been there. But I'm told that they go to the graveyards, they go in the middle of the road, they do all kinds of things. Because somebody says an idle mind is the devil's what? So if you're not busy, don't be surprised if you find yourself doing some of the unthinkables. It is better to be busy. A preoccupied mind is safe. If somebody does not have what to do, they will do the unthinkable and blame everyone for it. All right? Can we proceed? So, for instance,
Like in our case, where everything is okay, the trial balance would have agreed. Please don't write this one because we already have it, right? We have already done this. Okay? Where 100 is equal to what? 100,000 or 100 million rather is equal to what? 100 million. We are safe. You understand that? Yes. All right? But where we have got a difference, where 100 million is being equated to 90 million, we already have what? It cannot be equal, right? This sign also means not equal to. I was trying to look for a symbol. I failed to look for an accurate one. Not equal to. It's not equal to. How do you do it? You do like this and then you cross, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe it's supposed to be one cross, right? Yes. So in that event, you were supposed to introduce what is known as what? Suspense. Did you hear that? Because initially when the trial balance fails to agree, you don't know where the problem is. So suspense means we don't know. You understand? We don't know. And I'm going now to get on to these areas. I want you to write. Write something. Right, so let me just explain what we have. What's the time on your phone? 9:40? Yeah, interesting. It looks like we have to take it to another day, but we can do the theory. Error of omission means the transaction was left out. There was no debit, there was no credit. You understand that? And what could drive the error of omission? Perhaps you misplaced a source document. I hope you still remember source documents. Okay? Yeah. You know, education is what remains after you have forgotten everything you have learned. So please, but don't forget the most important things, all right? Next, error of what? Commission. It means that the wrong account of the same class was what? Was used. Did you hear what I said? The wrong account of the what? Same class was used. For instance, if you're supposed to pay for your rent, you decide to take the bill to what? Electricity. Both rent and what? Electricity are what? Expense accounts. But you'd have committed an error of what? Commission. Next, error of principal. It means a different account. I mean, an account of a different class could have been used, but of course both accounts could either be debits or credits. Now, an example there has been given, treating capital expenditure as revenue expenditure, or indeed doing the opposite. Let's have an example. If you buy a vehicle, we know that that is capital what? Expenditure. Do you understand that? But if you decide to take the cost of a vehicle to vehicle repairs, are you understanding? You are committing an error of what? Principle. Did you hear that? Yes. Next, entry reversal error. Here you swapped the what? The entries. Instead of debiting, you know, the correct account, you created the correct account, and you did the other thing in the other account. You passed opposite entries in the what? In the correct what? Accounts. Let's think about something. What is the double entry of a cash purchase? I think by now you should be assisting me. Yes. Now commit the error of entry reversal. You do the opposite.
So you debit cash.
Yes. Are you listening to what is? You know, accounts is involving. Some of you like getting drunk. You have to fall in front. Otherwise, there will be no getting back. So, he has just told us something that relates to the entry reversal error. I just wanted to say that on the entry reversal error, for you to correct the problem, you have to multiply the figure by what? By what? By 2, and then pass the correct entries. Compensating error. Slap me, then I'll slap you back. Ladies, you don't do this one, eh? If somebody shouts at you, don't shout them back. It's honor. I like anyway, it is very difficult to turn the other cheek. But in compensating error, we're seeing 2 or more errors have occurred on both sides of the what? Trial balance, and they have ended up cancelling each other. Do you understand that? Yes. So if we overstate the debit by 100 and overstate the credit by what? 100, we shall have a compensating what? Error. You understand that? Okay? Next, error of original what? Entry. What does it mean? You use the wrong what? Amount. You posted the wrong amount. Likely to take place when you get the wrong total from your day books. Remember, before you go to the general ledger, you have to come from your what? Day books. So if you get the wrong amount from the day books and push it in the correct accounts, you still have an error based on the amount. So please write the following. These errors, you should not open a suspense account when these errors occur. Okay? All you need to do is to identify the affected accounts and pass the correcting entry. And pass the correcting entry. And pass the correcting entry. Pass a journal entry. Pass a journal entry. Right. Are we together? Yes. I hope you're done writing. Can I proceed? We now go to the last 4 types of errors. All right? You're done? You know, if you're going through these things on your phone or on your computer, you can freeze. You understand? You can freeze the what? The screen. So that you don't have to write fast. You know, it doesn't make sense, eh? All right? So please, maybe in class like this, that's when you have to take care of your time. So please write the following. I'm coming to explain. Write those points. this is what you have. And error of single entry means getting married at 45 years old. How come? Your grandchildren will be how old? Now listen to this. Don't give people unnecessary what? Problems. You're supposed to be there for your children. If you get married at what? 45. How old will be your child when you're at 50? Huh? There's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Eh? You should be decided. Now, I don't like people like cohabiting and they're saying that me, I'm single. Single entry. Maybe that's the way this generation is. Okay, so let's proceed. Error of single entry means only one account was what? Updated. Do you understand that? One account was what? In other words, the double entry was not completed. Did you hear that? The double entry could have, it was not, this is called partial omission actually, in some cases. Let us proceed. You wanted an example? If you forget to update one account, for instance, you receive money. Okay, yeah, that's a good one actually. If you receive money sometimes, you understand, eh? You might know the account to debit, which is bank or cash. But maybe you have got two customers with the same what? Names, isn't it? Hello? So you don't know which customer to do what? To credit. You are going to end up with an error of what? Single what? Entry. At least temporarily. Transposition error, digits within a number were interchanged. But of course, I will tell you a secret very soon. Writing 109 as what? Is an example of an error of what? Transposition. Let me now try to give you a hint. If a transposition error takes place from the daybooks, it is going to give rise to an error of original what? Entry. Did you hear that? If a transposition error takes place in the daybook, for instance, you were supposed to extract 109 from the daybooks, you end up extracting what? 910. Do you know that this same 910 will reflect on both sides of the account, but it will be a wrong what? Amount. The amount is wrong in an error of what? Original what? Entry. Please remember that. Now, the only way a transposition error is going to make the trial balance to fail to balance is when it takes place where? In the general ledger. Did you hear that? Because now in this case, the debit side may have what? 109, and then the credit side has got what? 910. That's the only way it can affect us. Okay, progress. I just wanted to say, just to help you, that in a transposition error, the difference is exactly divisible by 9. So find the difference, 910 minus 109, and divide by 9 to check whether you are having any remainder. Do you have any remainder? Huh? Do you have any remainder? There should be no remainder. Is there a remainder? No remainder, right? If you want, you can say 901, all right? Compared to what? 910. That one is straightforward, eh? It's straightforward, isn't it? Because the difference will be what? 9. 9 divided by what? 9 is what? 1 completely. So we don't have to go there. Let's proceed. Okay, double debit, double credit means both accounts were either debited or what? Or credited, right? And, of course, to correct this problem, again, you have to multiply the figure by what? By 2, don't forget that. And then lastly, different debit and different credit. You had some pressure. Because you are staying with someone who is not your partner. You had some pressure. Instead of writing what?
Why do we create problems? Because we've got money and their lodges. Yes, of course. Let's proceed here. 1, 2. Instead of writing 1, 2, you forget a 0. You write 120. You're going to have different debit. You debit 1, 2, 1,200, and then you credit that. There's going to be a difference. Now listen. You can take down some notes. We need to open a suspense account when the last 4 errors happen. Okay? You understand? And then the suspense account shall be part of the journal. Double entry. Okay? Write something. Alright, can we proceed? It is therefore clear that the identification of accounting errors is a major work here. If you don't know the accounting error, it will dominate you. You understand that? Because, for instance, in the first 6 errors, you're not supposed to open a suspense what? Account. But if you don't know the error, what will happen? You guess, you throw a pencil and land on the fire. So what we're saying is, know your errors. You understand that? There's the first 6 and the last what? 4. The first 6 does not affect the suspense account, but the last 4 will do. Alright? But how do you get to be proficient in knowing your errors? You need to practice what? Questions. So next time, like tomorrow, all things being equal, hoping that we shall all be alive. Still young, eh? They will not lose the powers, eh? By tomorrow. We shall be around, isn't it? Yes, so we can do more. You know, I'm going to end there, because even if we discuss this part, we'll need to do a what? A question. So thank you very much. What should be our expected next session? Accounting for what? Accounting for what? So tax. Yes. So please, you take note of that. It's called VAT in this country, right? Value added what? Tax. Thank you very much. And we end there. Isn't it a good thing to end?